Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop for another tool pick video. This is today is actually December 4th, 2021, but I'm going to wish you all a happy new year because I know that this is probably not going to air until after the first of the year in 2022. I am that backed up on editing videos. So this is a video of a pick that I did back on November 5th of this year, and it was the Thompson International Speedway annual swap meet, and this is a big one. It's a 2-day show. It's a 3-day show. Dealers come in and set up on Friday, but they open to the public on Friday, and then Saturday's the big opening day. It's a full day event, and then Sunday. I go on Friday and I go on Saturday. Last year with the COVID and everything, it was kind of a tough show. Deals weren't as plentiful. This year was pretty good. This is going to be a multi-parter for sure. At the very least, we're going to split it up into the days. So let's dive right into the stuff that I picked on Friday and see how far we can get. So the very first deal I put together at a dealer was he had several items I was looking at, and I asked some prices on a couple of things, and they seemed fairly reasonable, and that's when I decided, well, the best thing would probably be to put together a pile. I said, hey, if I put together a pile, do a deal. He said, sure. So I went through, looked at everything he had, and ended up passing on a few items. He had some old boxes like these with really old tools in them. There were some really early, old micrometers that I can't really do anything with at this point, so I left those. But I grabbed this Sterit depth micrometer because it's actually in pretty good shape, even though the box is really old, and it's got 4 rods in here. So I'm sorry, 5 rods. So we could use this as a well, actually that's right. This rod's been ground to a point by somebody, and it's actually the same size as what's in there. So in actuality, what we have is a 0 to 4. Yeah, got a 0 to 4 depth mic. So that's okay. And this was the other really early piece. This is also this is a Brown and Sharp, and it's one of these little deals here, which I think I already have one of these. I think I have the longer one, but this is kind of a neat little vernier depth gauge. So let me just take out 2 items that were a separate deal that I initially passed on. So I put together this lot right here for $100, which was these 2 pieces I just showed you. This Greenfield tap and die number 7 tap wrench. This nice Sterit number 93C tap wrench. This genuine This genuine Aloris AXA tool holder. This Sterit 196 indicator that actually works perfectly. This very early Sterit cast iron level in the box. Okay, so this is actually there's no number on the box, but pretty confident this is the correct box because it fits perfectly. Don't know much about valuation on these, but took a chance on that. This little Stanley, I believe this is a Stanley. No, this is actually this little Craftsman number 3922. Yeah, this little Craftsman 3922 little caliper, which I know some of these like Stanley ones are pretty highly collectible. I don't know about this one here, but it's an actually great shape, so that kind of attracted me to it. And this nice Sterit vernier. This is one of these. This is the number 123. This is the master bar, hardened and stabilized. Unfortunately, no case, but it actually looks like it's pretty decent shape. I know some guys ask really big money for these. I try to be more reasonable. And then that last item in that group of items for 100 was this SPI branded. It's like an Intra mic, but Intra mic is a Tessa trade name, I believe, or Brown and Sharp. I know somewhere on here it is. It's marked SPI right there. There was a tape on here for a calibration sticker, and I took that off, or somebody took it off, I don't remember, because I wanted to see if it was an SPI. And this is a 2.0 to 2.4 inch. So this is for very precise measurement of bores just in that size range, and that's the only range it's good for. So high precision, low range. Then he had seen me pick up this this height gauge, and I don't like buying them because I can't get a ton of money for them, and they're a pain in the butt to ship because of the the size. They won't fit in flat rate packaging. But I had noticed that this was a genuine Sterit. It's marked right there with the embossed S, and also clearly marked up here on the top that this is a Sterit 255 hardened and stabilized bar. And I was like, yeah, a little bit of rust on the bottom. So I, couldn't give much for it. And then he offered it to me for $10. Or I think I told him I couldn't give more than 10 for it. And he said, I'll take the 10. So I got a genuine Sterit height gauge with the Scriber on it for $10. Good deal. Hopefully I'll sell it. This was the other item that I picked up and looked at several times, and finally he said to me, he says, I'm going to give you such a good price on that, you can't not buy it. So it's got the original little case, which I thought was cool. It's like ebony or some kind of, it's either some kind of wood that's black or it's painted black wood. It's got all this brass work on it, really nicely executed level, probably not very accurate because of the fact that the wood's not as stable, you wouldn't think. Then again, maybe it is, I don't know. But this one is marked Glasgow, Glasgow, which I know is Scotland, and a very Scottish sounding name. A. Matheson and Son, and Matheson is spelled Mathieson, and I'm guessing that's probably a very Scottish way to spell that name. But anyways, this is a little precision level, just sweet as can be, and with the original case, kind of neat. And $5. He was not lying when he said, I'm going to give you a price that you can't walk away. And I couldn't. $5. Very cool. Yeah, so then I walked around for quite a while without finding anything else, and then ended up stumbling upon a dealer that I know quite well, and he doesn't usually have too many Machinist items, but I was going through his stuff, and I spotted this scrunch, and this is for chainsaw, and it seems like I'm always misplacing these, so they get lost or whatever. And I got that for $1. And then he had a big cardboard box with just some random partial rolls of Romex electrical wire. And the box had a lot of white colored Romex in it, which was probably older 14 gauge wire. And then on the top, though, there were a couple of rolls. I would estimate probably between the two rolls, I've got at least 50 feet of yellow Romex, which would be number 12 gauge wire, which I want to add more outlets and stuff down here in the shop, so I'm always collecting when I can buy that right. I got that for $10, which was a hell of a deal because because of the copper commodity prices and everything, and with everything else going on, the prices are just sky high on electrical wire right now. Then one of the dealers that I had bought from before, on my way out, I happened to just stop at his table one more time and make sure I had gotten everything I wanted from him, and somehow I missed this Sterit center punch. It's actually in pretty good shape. It's a larger one. I got that for $1. No sense in leaving that there. I'll add that to the fray. And then, like I said, when I was about to give up and go home, I found two more dealers that I scored from. The first was this guy. He had an interesting way that he laid stuff out. He put stuff in bags like this, okay, with prices right on them. Alright, so we had $25 on this, and 20 on these screw jacks. But then some of these, he grouped stuff together for no apparent rhyme, no reason other than to, I don't know, stimulate trade, I guess, or for whatever reason. So 30. So I put together this lot right here and got this for $65. It's a pretty good deal considering he had 110 marked for prices on this alone, and I forgot what he had on a price for this Lufkin planer gauge, 30. So he had 140 bucks on this collectively, and I got it for 65. I must have been really on the top of my game with the sweet talking that day. Anyway, so this is a Lufkin planer gauge. It's a nice larger one, and it's got the two extension rods. Or is that 3? No, that's 2. Okay. But anyways, kind of a neat set. It's a 1-inch and a 3-inch. I wonder if there was a 2-inch that went... I don't know. Anyways, sweet little planer gauge. These probably unmarked screw jacks. I got everything out of the bags so we can get a little bit better look at them. These are the screw jacks. Nice set of screw jacks. I've got some like this now. This must have been, I think I've mentioned before, this must have been like a pattern or something that was in a magazine or something that was widely copied, because I've run across a lot of these. Either that or they were manufactured in a factory, but I don't think so. And then this is that little interesting attachment. The last one of these that I got a little while back was actually a Mitutoyo branded one, and it was quite an expensive little holder. And this is an indicator holder. It's got a stepped shaft here, so you don't have to necessarily change out collets if you happen to have one of these 3 sizes of collets in the mill or the fixture or whatever you're putting this onto. You can you've got some range there, and then once you have this in the collet, then this allows you to basically sweep an indicator around. So you've got a post mount right here for an indicator. You can clamp it right in there, and then you have a fine adjustment here to move this in and out, so you can fine-tune that radius from the center line here to the indicator, and then you have a rough adjustment here. So handy little gizmo. Not sure on the value of that. Might end up keeping that and selling the Mitutoyo one. This little square right here, this is a little Sterit 453 die maker's square. For those of you who aren't familiar with the die maker's square, what's unique about this square is that when the blade is unlocked, you can use this second knob here to actually cock the blade a little bit up to 10 degrees, so you can check clearance and dies, which makes it a little unusual. Typically, you can see it move right there, so I can actually lock that. I don't know if you can see it or not, but that's now no longer a 90-degree angle. So typically this was sold in a set with alternate small different sizes of blades, like a really narrow blade and stuff that would go in here. But it's still kind of a sweet little square. Toolmaker's buttons, the larger ones. These are also Sterit's 494s, I think. Yep, 494C Toolmaker's buttons. This is for layout, not layout work, for fixturing work on face plates. A small little parallel clamp, genuine Sterit one though. These Toolmaker's clamps, or sometimes people call these vices, but they're often referred to as Toolmaker's clamps. These are Sterit. This is a number 160. Now, the interesting thing is there's a second jaw here. That's how these usually came. They came with this little jaw and this jaw. I believe that's how they shipped them. Oftentimes, more than not, this little jaw is missing and this jaw is on there, or both jaws are missing. I've actually found this clamp with no jaws. This one is almost looks like it's chrome plated, which I've not seen. So this is a little special. This one is more in the like gunmetal acid washed looking finish that I'm more used to finding on these. Interestingly enough though, on the top right here it's plated chrome, and marked the LSS company, Athol, Massachusetts. So this is also a Sterit. So you can see this is how you typically find these, with this jar on here only. So this one's missing the small little straight jaw. And then last but not least, he had $10 on this little boring head, which I was going to pay him the 10 no matter what on this, because this is a great little deal on this cute little boring head. Unfortunately, it has absolutely no markings on it, so I have no idea who makes it. I have a feeling if we could have put a maker's name to this, it probably would be a big dollar item. Like I said, when I was getting ready to give up, I found two dealers. There was one of them, and the other guy, he had a Gerstner 11-draw toolbox there. It was pretty nice, not mint, you know, but pretty good shape, and there was some tools in it. And he said he wanted $500 for it with the contents. So I talked to him a little bit, and I said, hey, if I go through here and I pull out some of these tools and make a pile, you be willing to sell them? Because some guys are like, no, I want to sell it with the contents. They want to sell it. It doesn't make sense to me. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Do not insist on selling toolboxes with contents. It's not good, because you're going to have people who might want to buy a box, especially the Gerstners and the Unions, the old oak and mahogany toolboxes. People are buying those and repurposing them. The guy might be a fly fisherman who ties his own flies, and he wants a fancy box for all of his little tools for that. Or he might be into, I don't know, collecting butterflies. Who knows? I mean, women also are using these as jewelry boxes. So that's why they're commanding a lot of, you know, big money at antique auctions. And then I see dealers buying them, or people buying them, and then throwing out the tools, or not valuing the tools at all. So I'm always amazed when people, you know, so sell me tools out of the box, and then whatever I pay you for those tools, you could take that off the top of what you're asking for the box. Now you've got more bargaining room for the sale of the box, right? Or better yet, if you get what you were asking for the box, then anything I paid you for the tools is extra profit. So this guy was a player. He was like, yeah, sure. So I put together this pile of stuff right here, the contents of this little box and this, and got it for $20. Great deal for me. As far as he was concerned, he didn't care. He'd gotten the thing for short money by the looks of it. And then a little side note, funny thing ended up happening. He saw that I obviously knew, you know, about this stuff and about the box, and, you know, because we talked about it. And when it became clear to him that I wasn't going to be interested in the box because I resell them, he wanted my honest opinion on the pricing. And I said, based on the condition that it was in, I gave him an idea of what he should be looking for the box. After I had gotten this stuff out, and I was still standing there, a couple other guys walked up and were checking out the box, and I ended up leaving. Those guys kind of heard my conversation with him though. So later, on my way out, I stopped at another dealer to see if he had anything. And here comes those two guys with a hand truck, and they're wheeling the Gerstner back to the box. And the guy actually stopped and said to me, he wanted to show me that he ended up cutting a deal on the box. And he got the box for, I think, $250, which is a great deal for him. And, you know, so he was happy, and he said to me, he says, I'm just going to tell you, he says, I think the reason why he moved on the price on this was because of what you told him. So, you know, and some of you guys are probably thinking, $250 for an 11-draw Gerstner is a steal. I was taking into account the general condition of the box, too. So, like I said, it wasn't mint. It wasn't like, you know, a super clean one. Anyways, let's look at what's in here and then close out this one. So, I found this Brown and Sharp planer's gauge, just like this. No case, no posts sitting in there. This is a number 625. This Sterit drill index. This is number 185. This is a number drill. There's also this little Sterit index. This is also a number, but this is a smaller one. It's a Brown and Sharp. this early edge scribing tool. This is for, put it up to, you know, you got a scribing point there, you put it up to the edge here, and now I can scribe a line parallel to the edge, right? This, from an earlier pick, is basically the Sterit version of this tool, but that's a genuine Sterit one. So anyways, got that. Automatic center punch, it's either a Sterit or a Brown & Sharp, I forget. Little adjustable spanner. It's an Armstrong, a little bit of rust on it. A Bausch & Lomb loop magnifier in the original box. A genuine Sterit edge finder in this little plastic pouch. A little Cleveland, or I don't know, it's a number 2 wedge for tapers, Morse tapers. Found a post. So there we go. So one of the 2 posts was still present, which is great. I also, from an earlier pick, have these random posts, a 1, 2, and a 3. But notice, these are probably from a Sterit. This is a Brown & Sharp. Nice little pin vise. It's got a good look to it, but it's completely unmarked. And then we got these goodies here. We've got a number 20 square, engraved by the previous owner. Little Athol, little Sterit number 20. Yeah, cute little honey. This is not a die maker square. This is just a number 14 Sterit square. And then I found this other blade in there. Oddly enough, there was a, yeah. So this was laying in there, and then I found the blade. So we got two number 14 Sterit squares. Sometimes it's tricky getting the blades back in on these. Got a little random Sterit scale. This is a symmetric one. A little Brown & Sharp 3-inch. 2 random Weber gauge blocks. Put those together with all of my other stray gauge blocks, and eventually when I'm looking through sets that are missing blocks, see if I got lucky and have one. And then a couple of fishtail, aka center gauges for lathe work, a Craftsman, and that's also a Craftsman, different era. And then here's a alternate blade for one of those squares, probably. Okay, I'm not right. Alternate blade for one of these. And then this is a scriber point for a scriber I did not find, but I know I have one of these scribers somewhere, so I get an extra point. All right, so that's going to close out day 1 of the Thompson International Speedway flea market swap meet. So if you guys aren't already a subscriber, I hope you consider subscribing to the channel. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. I hope you come back to see the pics from day 2. Take care.